When we see a monumental achievement, we often search for a shortcut to explain it. We assume the person was lucky, or that they simply occupied the right space at the right time. This is the luck illusion. Observers focus on this single, visible spike of victory, but remain blind to the dense cluster of failed attempts buried beneath the surface. In reality, those failures form the foundation required to reach that final, visible outcome. If the path to success is paved with a high volume of rejection, what internal mechanism keeps a person moving when most people would choose to quit? Take the early history of one specific individual. He failed in business at 21 and again at 24. By 27, he suffered a breakdown. His middle years were a series of political losses. He was defeated in a legislative race, a congressional race, and 2 separate senatorial campaigns. He even failed in an effort to become vice president. At age 52, this man was elected president of the United States. This was Abraham Lincoln. To Lincoln, defeat was a detour rather than a dead end. He sustained a frequency of rejection that would typically end a career, yet he used those years of loss as the precursor to his presidency. Resistance often takes the form of public humiliation. In 1913, Lee DeForest was charged with criminal fraud for claiming he could transmit the human voice across the Atlantic. The district attorney accused him of using fraudulent means to mislead investors into buying his company's stock. For others, the friction is a matter of pure attrition. At age 65, Colonel Sanders began selling his mother's recipe while relying on a $100 Social Security check. He knocked on an estimated 1,000 doors before he secured his very first order. Most people abandon their objectives after 10 or even 100 tries. These individuals demonstrate that achieving an outlier result requires a mindset that survives public shame and repetitive, high-volume rejection. Beyond external rejection, some must face fundamental internal limitations. One 4-year-old boy, who was partially deaf, was sent home with a note from his teacher stating he was too stupid to learn and should be removed from school. His mother rejected the label and taught him himself. His career proves a recurring theme in success. Greatness occurs in spite of problems, not in the absence of them. That child was Thomas Edison. He transformed his lack of formal schooling and his physical deafness into the high level of focus required for his inventions. Overcoming these biological and social barriers requires a psychological drive that aggressively ignores the standard definitions of limitation. In 1914, at age 67, Edison faced total ruin when a fire destroyed his factory. He watched his lifetime's effort, worth millions of dollars and largely uninsured, vanish in a single night. He viewed the disaster as valuable, claiming that the fire had simply burnt up all of his past mistakes. He saw the destruction of his factory as an opportunity to start anew. 3 weeks after the fire, he invented the phonograph. This is the process of failing forward. It involves routing the kinetic energy of a catastrophic setback directly into a new iteration. Maintaining this loop of continuous destruction and rebirth requires an internal engine more powerful than standard motivation. This intensity is best illustrated by an encounter between Socrates and a young man who asked the philosopher for the secret to success. Socrates led him into a river, and once the water reached their necks, he suddenly forced the young man's head under. He held him there, cutting off his access to air. The young man struggled violently as his oxygen ran out. In that moment, his entire focus shifted to a single biological necessity. When he was finally pulled to the surface, gasping for breath, Socrates asked him what he wanted most while he was underwater. The boy replied, "Air." Socrates told him that when he wanted success as badly as he wanted that breath of air, he would find it. It is a level of desire that functions like a survival instinct. A burning desire is a psychological engine. It links the achievement of a purpose to the same mental space we reserve for literal survival. A weak desire provides little heat and is easily extinguished by failure. A burning desire uses those same setbacks as fuel to reach the objective. When you face your next inevitable setback, do not ask if you tried your best. Ask if you want the result as badly as you want to breathe.